Hi there, folks. I'm Gene of RPG, and welcome back to Final Fantasy IX. Here with me is my bestest friend, Lacey.
Hello.
And to give a quick recap, at the end of the last part, we decided that, screw the boss, screw the boys. We're going to go save Princess Garnet. And so, yeah, we apparently need to get permission from the boss. I'm not really sure how that works, but, eh. And
Well,
yeah,
part of a gang, you gotta have permission from the boss.
gotta
Do
have
something against
permission from the boss.
Yeah.
I guess it's the same with RFC. I can't do anything without getting Lacey's permission.
You don't do anything anyway. So it's okay.
I try. Anyway, right there we found a wrist, I believe it was. I kind of missed it because I was looking away. Alright, so I didn't talk about it before, but let's go into abilities right now because, well, it's an important part of Final Fantasy IX.
Mhm.
Red abilities are like well, that's not a good word. Command abilities, we'll call them, such as flee and detect that Zidane has. Then there are the blue passive abilities that, well, they're passive. When you equip them, they're automatic. You get a set number of magic spheres to equip, and different skills cost different amounts of these spheres. The number of spheres you have increase as you level up, and different skills cost different amounts. And they all have various effects. And the drummer's worried he's going to die there.
Cold ones.
So, Lacey, what do you think about the skill system?
Well, I used it a little bit. I liked it. There were some that I liked, but there were also some that I thought, not really necessary.
Not really necessary. Yeah, that's true. There are, admittedly, a lot of skills that actually aren't very useful.
Yeah, and there's a limit to how many you can have, so after a point, you kind of have to go, well, do I really need this one?
Yeah, that is true. To optimally play the game, you're expected to frequently switch around your skills. One example of skills that are only really useful for a select number of characters are the killer skills. We saw that on the leather wrist when I was going through the menu. Those abilities increase the amount of damage you do to certain enemy types. How do you tell what an enemy type is? I believe the spell Scan, which I won't be getting for this playthrough for reasons I'll explain later, will tell you what kind of enemy it is. But the thing is, Zidane gets an ability later that makes those abilities completely worthless for him. So they're not really
That's
worth...
kind of what I was thinking. Is a lot of times, you know, at the beginning of a game, you'll get all these things like, oh, this is really good against this kind of monster, or this is good against this kind. And they're useful, but unless you can predict the kind of mobs that are going to attack you, not really that great.
No, there are better skills, because ultimately, there are also skills that prevent certain status effects from affecting your characters. Ultimately, it's better to have that and stop, like, say, sleep, as opposed to dealing more damage, because it works better, because you can survive. It might take a little longer, but
I've always hated the ones that cause petrification. Ugh. Nothing like being petrified.
Yeah, petrification, I think, is the first real status effect that starts causing trouble in this game. But we'll learn about that later. That's not going to be a thing for a little while yet. For now, we have to take on the boss to prove that we can handle ourselves out in the forest. Are you ready, Lacey?
We're ready.
Alright, well, Zidane's not.
Well, apparently.
Alright, so for this fight, especially if you're level 1 like I am, put Zidane in the back row. To explain how rows work, you do more damage with a physical attack if you're in the front row, but you also take more damage. You do 50% less damage if you're in the back row, but you also take 50% less damage from physical attacks. I'm a very big fan.
That'd be very handy when you have more party members.
Yes. I am very, very, very much a big fan of the back row. But we'll see that as the playthrough goes on. This is Detect. It will tell us what enemies have to steal. It is probably Zidane's third best skill that he can learn. Admittedly, a lot of Zidane's skills suck. Like his actual using skills. But we learned that we can steal a high potion and a little bit more importantly is an iron sword. Not all that important, but it is something Steiner can use. And yeah. Basically, you just want to keep trying to steal from him, assuming you want to spend the time to get it. Because, not to spoil too much, I've already mentioned this a while ago, but stealing is 100% optional. You don't have to steal stuff.
Yeah, you can be a good guy.
Well, I mean, you're a good guy.
Not take things from old ladies.
Hey, we needed that 9 gil. Never mind that we got 10,000 later. But, yeah, you want to be in the back.
I've noticed that items are really vital to this game. Potions and stuff.
Yes, items are actually really important. Final Fantasy IX does a good job of really making you have to use items. In fact, I'm trying to remember. I think it's the next video where I'm going to talk more heavily about that. I love Baku. The way he fights is hilarious.
Why can't we steal the sword?
I know, he's got a giant sword. Although, he likes to do that. There we go. We got the iron sword. We got it.
Yay!
So the reason I recommend staying in the back row is obviously because, especially if you're level 1, Baku's going to hit really hard. Well, unless he misses. But he's going to hit really hard, and so it's better to be in the back row if you're going to try and steal.
I recall almost failing this fight.
He hits a lot harder than it seems here, but that's because I'm in the back row.
See, I didn't understand the whole back row, front row thing.
Well, that's because that's a classic Final Fantasy thing. That's not something that's really present in the modern games. Like, Final Fantasy VIII didn't have rows at all. 10 doesn't have rows. 10-2 doesn't have rows, sorry. 12 doesn't have rows. You know, it's something that's kind of been phased out. So, I think I can say this is
It's not something I'd ever really thought of before. Maybe some older RPGs, but this isn't this one. I'm not sure I'm familiar with it.
Yeah. And so it's the kind of thing that's already started to get phased out by the time 9 came out. But we should be just about done with Baku here. Oh, that's the attack that hurts the most, if I recall correctly. The jump slash he does. But if you got the Mage Masher, make sure you have that equipped, because there is a specific formula for stealing stuff from enemies in Final Fantasy IX, and I don't know the exact details, but I do know that Zidane's weapon strength and his actual strength stat contribute to your success rate of stealing, and so you always want to have a stronger weapon equipped unless you're going for a specific ability.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. There's more to it that I'll talk about. He missed, by the way. I don't know what happened there, but he's supposed to punch Zidane in the stomach there, but he kind of punched in between Blank and Zidane. It's very strange. Anyway, there's more regarding the stealing formula that I'll talk about later, because there's a lot to it. After all, the main character of the game's a thief. There's a lot to go into the stealing mechanic. It wouldn't really make sense if it wasn't really well thought out.
This would be good for me, too, because I actually do not know anything about the stealing, because I never did it.
Oh, you never did it at all?
I think I did it once, didn't get anything, and said, well, never mind this then.
Well, like I said, it's completely optional. The game is definitely beatable without it, but it is nice. Well, no, I'll talk about that some more later, because I have a lot of really big advice regarding stealing from bosses. Bosses, typically, you can steal the best stuff from. Which, I mean, makes sense. They're bosses. They're the big guys, the head honchos.
Rusty.
Yep, rusty. Evidently, Steiner's armor is supposed to be rusty, but none of the cutscenes or his actual model really depict this. But yes, we're going to get Steiner's help or Rusty's help. You can call him whatever you want. I like Steiner. He's actually one of my favorite characters. Although I believe Lacey's told me that she doesn't like him.
I do not care for Steiner.
It's too bad. Steiner reminds me of myself so much. Puppies! Anywho, so we're gonna go and get Vivi next. And, But we're going to go and get Vivi next, and Steiner's pointing out that Vivi is indeed very powerful. Vivi's actually one of the strongest characters in Final Fantasy IX. Go figure, he's the Black Mage. He's got the magic.
Because Vivi the best.
Yeah, Vivi is quite awesome. Vivi and Steiner are a really good combo, as we'll learn in this part. Though, it's actually going to make a lot of stuff easier. That's a gigantic drum. Okay, so you want to make sure you're equipping Steiner. In Steiner's case, he only has 3 sword arts that are worthwhile, and we're not going to see any of those for quite a long time. So I would rather prioritize the killer abilities for him, because he's going to be using normal attacks the majority of the time. But here's how this works. You want to go into the skill menu and make sure you equip skills. Antibody prevents poisoning, and a much nastier status condition we'll see much later in the game called Venom. But because, like I was saying, Steiner only does physical attacks and is only going to be using regular attack, it makes sense to me to give him the killer ability, so he'll do more damage.
I see.
I sure did beat the boss. Not that it means a whole lot.
Apparently.
And Vivi originally had no plans of coming to help us. Because, well, why would he? Vivi doesn't want to get in trouble.
Nope.
Scoundrel! I love that word.
You would.
I know.
Poor Vivi.
Yeah, Vivi's quite scared. He only appears to be about 9 years old, so you know he's not the young. Well, I shouldn't say that.
He's just a baby.
Huh?
He's just a baby.
Yes, more so than you may realize, but we'll learn about that much later. Anyway, here Steiner wants to talk to Vivi about something very secretive.
Ooh.
In reality, it's unlocking one of Steiner's commands. So each character has attack, defend, change, and item by default. They also each have their own abilities. They have 2 unique commands that they can use in battle. One of Steiner's is Sword Art, and then the other one is only accessible when Vivi is in the party with him, and it's Sword Magic. It basically lets you...
I recall this.
Oh, I'm sorry, what?
So I think I recall this.
I'm sorry, I missed that. What was that?
So I think I recall some of this.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard not to, because I'm sure you... Well... I guess I shouldn't say I'm sure you did play with it, but I'm willing to bet you played around a little bit with commands as you were going through the game, right?
A little bit.
A little bit. But yes, Steiner's sword magic is actually going to be one of the 2 primary methods of defeating enemies for a little while. Oh, and... Here's where Blank is going to tell us about abilities. All the stuff I just explained.
Okay, you should have just let us read this.
And yeah, Zidane's going to get himself a sweetie pie, or so he thinks.
Mm-hmm.
Zidane really lays it on pretty thick with the I guess the flirting? I'm not sure what you'd call it. What would you call it, Lacey?
Being a monkey whore.
A monkey whore. All right.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
It's what it is.
It's what it is? All right.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, sorry, not Zidane. Blank can probably explain how to equip abilities much more elaborately than I can. He's just quick and easy to the point. Quick and easy to the point. I think I got that wrong. Anywho, we still do not have a dedicated healer, so you may need to purchase potions, because, well, how else are you going to restore your health? You can talk to Cinna.
Wow, the potions.
I'm sorry, what?
Just all the potions.
Yes, you can talk to Cinna here and purchase potions, but because we're technically not part of the group anymore, we have to pay. But there's a letter for us from Ruby, you know, the Texas girl.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Hey, that's what they're going for. Alright, so a little tip regarding Mognet. Always check, like, twice. After you deliver a letter to a Moogle, check again to see if they have a letter for you or if they want you to deliver a letter, because it does not automatically tell you. Oh, Lacey, the frog's gone.
Yay.
What do you mean, yay?
I don't care for the frogs.
But, oh. Alright, so this active time event actually features a remix of a song from Final Fantasy VII. It's called Welcoming Rufus. And I let it play for a little bit because it's actually a really nice song. But yeah, wasn't that swell?
Swell.
Swell. Alright, so I have an abnormal amount of luck here in the Evil Forest. I don't get into any random encounters.
What?
Yeah. Save for one, and that's only because I ran in circles for a couple of seconds. I very easily could have just not gotten into any fights in the Evil Forest.
How odd.
Yeah, it is very odd. It's not very common.
Oh, the pretty water. Moogle!
There is a Moogle, and this happens to be an important Moogle. There's also a free healing point here. So, active time events, when they're in gray letters, they are forced. You do not have a choice but to view them. Which usually means it's plot important stuff. If they're blue, they're completely optional, although you should watch them anyway. They're hilarious. And you can actually get stuff from them. But, yes, we find out that Blank is planning on following after Zidane. Why he didn't just leave with us, I don't know.
He didn't say he was following.
Because, I mean, it's been 30 seconds since we left. Anywho, this is Monty. We want to deliver the letter to Monty. Let's read it, Lacey.
Read that letter!
I think Queen Braun is up to something, but I suspect Princess Garnet even more. Kupo, she might leave home soon with a prince on a white horse. Maybe it's just my
Or a
imagination.
monkey on a clothesline.
Yes, or a monkey on a clothesline. Ah, and we also got a letter from Stiltskin.
Woohoo!
He's in a very cold place. And, yeah, we'll learn a little more about where he is. Well, later.
I think I've been to where he is.
Huh?
I believe I've been to where he is. Pretty sure I found him once.
Yes, I am positive Lacey has been to where he is. But, like I said, always double check the magnet to make sure they have a letter for you. And, yeah, let's move on. I'm telling you, I usually don't get this lucky with random encounters. But we look past this nasty, swampy water to find a giant flower. See, right here, right through that door is where, I guess cave is where the boss is. There's a specific enemy I want to show off, so I run in circles for a couple of seconds. I very easily could have not had a single fight in the evil forest. But this is actually the enemy I wanted to show. The reason I wanted to show it is because you can steal a very useful item from it, which is a tent. It may not be a bad idea to stock up on a few tents before you press on. These enemies appear in this area right before the boss. If you're worried about over-leveling, you can steal and then just use flee and you'll run away. But we won the fight. All I wanted to show is that you can get a tent from that. Still no level up. We're all level 1.
Little pathetic there.
Yeah, a little bit. But whatever, I'm
We
sure
fought
we'll
a lot
be
of
fine.
monsters. We deserve more.
Oh, look, Garnet's just hanging out. Get it? Because she was hanging?
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, it's funny. But we need to take on this giant flower to save Garnet, even though I don't know how we're going to reach her. Okay, so this boss. Something I didn't do that you should make sure you do is equip the silk shirt to Zidane, as well as Vivi. It has Thunder Elemental Reduction, which is really important.
Why is a plant doing thunder damage?
Why am I what?
I said, why is a plant doing thunder damage?
That's a good question. I have no idea why it's doing why it does thunder, but it does do thunder. So from that we stole the iron helmet, which go figure is a helmet for Steiner. A very good helmet. Vivi has the skill focus you might have seen, which I believe there is a cap to how many times you can use it, but it raises the amount of damage he does with his magic spells. It's very useful, especially while you're trying to steal stuff. Now, our entire party is inflicted with blind. Because we're going to be using sword magic with Steiner, though, that doesn't matter. Blind isn't going to affect him. And because Vivi casts magic, blind doesn't affect Vivi either. The only character it's going to affect is Zidane, who's not doing so hot, actually. He's about to die. But we managed to successfully steal everything from this boss. And so, yeah, we just want to take it out.
Oh, the fire!
Yeah, it's a plant, so go figure, it's going to be weak to fire. But see, it does cast thunder, which actually hurts really bad. If you have the silk shirt equipped, it will half the amount of damage that it does to characters. Because I didn't equip it to Zidane, he's, well, taking more thunder damage. And I forget if Steiner has any equipment that has electric damage, because admittedly Steiner uses completely different equipment. But look, Blank just showed up to help us. Not that it matters, because I think the boss is almost dead. Yeah, sword magic and fire with Vivi are going to be your big damage dealers in this fight. I mean, look at that. That's fantastic.
Much quicker than when I did it.
Steiner and Vivi are great together. They're two of my favorite characters. Bosses do not give you any EXP usually, only AP. So you'll never gain a level from a boss.
What?
Yeah. You can learn abilities. I'm not sure how we got Garnet down, because she was hanging up pretty high. But, it doesn't matter. Details.
We got swords.
We have swords. We just threw it up there. Oh, no. There are baby plants attacking us.
Let's get out of here.
We gotta blow this joint, Lacey.
You're gonna go away that you didn't come in. Alright.
Well, there was one of the plants blocking the way. All right. So, right off, use the eye drops on, well, Zidane and Steiner. It doesn't matter for Vivi. He's not going to be attacking with physical attacks. And make sure you heal up, because we do have to fight at least one of these battles coming up.
You gonna put that silk shirt on?
No. Oh, also, before I forget, strip Blank. Take all his stuff.
Spoiler alert!
Okay. Yeah, maybe it is a spoiler. He's not a permanent party member, guys. He's going to leave our party before you know it. But it's free stuff. You want to take his equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So these are really...
Dishonor on you, dishonor on your family, dishonor on your cow.
Alright, so these are just miniature versions of that boss we fought. They're nothing. There's nothing to them. In fact, Vivi with fire, targeting all of them, can actually one-shot every single enemy. So if you do want to level, kill off Blank, because like I said, he's not going to be a permanent party member. And EXP is divided amongst party members, so if he's dead, Zidane, Vivi, and Steiner will get more EXP, and just have Vivi lay waste to the enemies with fire every single battle. So when you multi-target with magic, the damage is reduced, I think it's reduced by 25 or 30%.
Blake hasn't even been here that long, and now he's gonna level this? Yes.
But Zidane thinks something is wrong. Go figure. We're only being chased by plants. But cutscene time. That's a lot more of those things than what we encountered.
Oh my.
Oh, and they're turning to stone. Also, Zidane's slow. Steiner and Vivi both outran him.
Blank!
They got Blank! But he throws us a scroll. It's really important scroll. But can we make it? Oh, we did it.
I like how the entire forest is trying to stop him.
Well, the entire forest was alive. It's almost as if the entire forest was a monster. But poor Blank, he is petrified. And folks, with that, we'll see you in part 6.
See you later!